Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's transportation hearing. Before we begin, or as we begin, I'd like to ask our attorney, Mr. Randall Gong, to please read the docket.
Good afternoon. This is docket number 2020-37T, the application of All My Sons Columbia, LLC for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for the operation of a motor vehicle carrier. Mr. Chairman and other members of the commission, the docket's in order.
Thank you, Mr. Dong. I almost always forget when we're virtual that we need to, for the record, make sure we have all the commissioners in a roll call. So if you will say here, Commissioner Belzer.
Here.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Irvin.
Here.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we will take appearances from the parties, and we'll begin with the applicant. And Mr. Popowski, I'll go to you.
David Popowski of the Charleston Bar, here representing the applicant.
Thank you. Welcome. Office of Regulatory Staff.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Alex Knowles on behalf of ORS. With me is Thomas McGill from ORS's Transportation Department.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Knowles. Welcome. Is there anything preliminarily that we need to do before we begin?
Mr. Chairman, David Popowski. Do I,
yes,
I'm not seeing anybody. Do I hit, when I was removed, I'm going to hit this OK in blue and then in green, join meeting. That should pull everybody up. It's a technical question.
You asked the wrong man.
That's correct. He should, Mr. Chairman.
That's correct. My battery just says it's running low on my computer. That ought to be an interesting thing.
So my video's off. I should hit this green button, join meeting now, right?
Is that correct, Mr.
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Tell us when you can see us.
I see you now.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm good. Yes. Okay, I'm ready, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Mr. Popowski, why don't we go ahead and let you present your case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank the Commission and the staff for working so diligently with the applicant over the last 2 weeks in organizing this video conference, and also making certain that our record is complete and clean. And to that end, we do have, and I would clean record for your consideration. We have, just to give you an overview, we have an amended application, amended tariff, amended bill of lading. You will see 11 photos of the office and the truck that they currently have. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration carrier profile for the applicant, and we'll have both the pre-filed testimony of the applicant and the affidavit of shipper support witness from Nat Wallen of Carolina 1. That will be our record that I will be going through as rapidly as possible for you today and try to move on.
Great, thank you.
All right, and Your Honor, All My Sons Moving of Columbia LLC is the applicant, and I would like to call as its witness Joseph Daniel McNally. He's known as Danny McNally.
Okay, welcome, Mr. McNally. I'm going to swear you in, and then we can begin. So, Mr. McNally, do you affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Great.
I do.
One other preliminary thing, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, we also have, in addition to the application, a motion to utilize electronic bills of lading that is also will be before the Commission today as a secondary matter. Mr. McNally, would you? I
Joseph Daniel McNally.
Allie, are you the operations manager of the applicant?
Correct.
And Mr. McNally, how old are you?
I am 30 years of age.
Allie, how long have you worked for all my moving for the company as a whole?
8 years.
All right. And would you take the commission? Is it fair to say All My Sons operates in approximately 30 states? Is that correct?
Correct.
Currently, already other entities of the All My Sons orbit already have 4 licenses within South Carolina. That's Charleston, Hilton Head, Greenville, and 3 counties in Charlotte. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is for the Columbia entity. Is this correct?
Yes.
Take us through your history with the All My Sons organization.
Actually, I started out as a driver at our Greenville location. I was a mover, a driver/mover for a few months until I was able to interview with our executive team, our leadership team. I transferred from Greenville, went out to our corporate office, our business development in Dallas, Texas, worked there for a year as a manager in training for our Dallas location. After that, I've worked for about 3.5 years in a Columbus, Ohio location. Extensive time was really predominantly within Dallas, Columbus, Ohio, Greenville, and Charlotte, North Carolina as well. As an operator, as an operations manager.
From that testimony, it appears that you are familiar with all aspects of the operation of a moving company. Is that correct?
Correct.
Allie, the applicant has filed an amended application yesterday to make some corrections and additions to its previous filed application. And I reviewed that, you and I have reviewed that along the way, and especially yesterday. Is that correct?
Correct.
And for the record, you propose to operate at 1424 Bluff Road in Columbia. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and not to go page by page through the application, but it's the standard application provides for the principal officers of the umbrella organizations, Chris Generali, President, and Ned Burras, Chief Financial Officer. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the amended application has attached to it an income statement and a balance sheet that the applicant has produced and we have reviewed. Is that correct?
Correct.
You're applying for statewide authority. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. The applicant, going to the equipment, the applicant currently has a Freightliner in its possession. Is that correct?
Correct.
How many cubic feet is that?
1,300, I believe. I don't know exactly. I believe it's right at or right under, because those trucks they don't have the attic, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's right at 1,300.
And there are 2 international vehicles, year 2020 listed, that are on order. Is that correct?
Correct.
And by the way, in terms of the ability of the local entities to rely on the parent company for financial support, that exists in your organization. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And turning to the insurance information, we have submitted an insurance quote both for liability and cargo insurance with limits of $1 million for liability and $750,000 for cargo. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And the specific premiums for those specific forms of coverage are listed in the application. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so let me just ask you now, turning to your fit, willing, and able page 7 of 10, and it's included in maybe in other parts. Are you familiar with the safety regulations of South Carolina for the operation of a motor vehicle carrier?
Correct.
You've worked with those regulations over the course of your career?
Yes, sir.
And the applicant has pending a rating from the U.S. Department of Transportation. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, you broke up in the beginning of the question.
The applicant has pending a rating from the U.S. Department of Transportation. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and with the application, we have filed the tariff, the amended tariff, which would be the tariff that you will operate under. Is that correct?
Correct.
We've also filed the bill of lading that you will utilize. Is that correct?
Correct.
You were visited by Mr. McGill of the Office of Regulatory Staff at your location, who reviewed your facility, and spoke to you about your future course of action. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Do you intend to comply with all rules, regulations, and statutes relating to household good movers in South Carolina?
Correct.
Okay. And in your pre-filed testimony, Mr. McNally, you stated that you felt there's a need for an additional mover in South Carolina, and we're talking obviously pre-corona days, but the level of business that we hope will obviously return in South Carolina necessitates an additional mover in South Carolina?
Correct.
Were you receiving phone calls? Was your organization receiving phone calls for shipments originating, destinating in the Midlands of South Carolina?
Correct.
Okay. But you hope to move shipments all through South Carolina via this particular entity. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. We have submitted photos, approximately 11 photos that were taken that you have reviewed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And for the record, let me describe what we've done, and I'll just do that for the record, that they're on file with the Commission for review, but let me quickly go through them. We have a photo of the front of a truck that you presently have, the side of the truck, the back of the truck. We have a picture of your office area, two pictures of your office area, your file room, your packing supply room, a meeting room, truck bay, outdoor sign, and front door. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the applicant already has been granted a license by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration of the United States Department of Transportation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's attached, the information relating to that has been attached to your pre-filed testimony. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you have US DOT number 3059646 and docket number MC 000544441. Is that correct?
Correct.
To perform interstate transportation for hire between all points in the United States, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, that is all of the direct testimony I have for Mr. McNally.
Okay. Mr. Dong, do we need to enter anything with this?
I believe the testimony needs to be entered as though read orally from the stand.
Okay, you wish to move that in, Mr. Popowski?
I do. I move that in.
Okay. Mr. McNally's pre-filed direct testimony will be entered into the record as though given orally from the stand.
And then the exhibits.
Yeah, I would move the admission of the following exhibits that have been submitted and filed with the Commission. Amended application, amended tariff, amended bill of lading. Number 4 would be photos A through K. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety number 5 would be Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration carrier profile. Number 6 would be the affidavit of shipper support from Nat Wallen. I so move.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, Mr. Don, will they be, and Ms.
Nope.
Wheat, will those be starting with the first, the amended application? Will that be number one?
They'll be numbered in the same order that they were presented.
Okay.
Exhibits 1 through 6. 1 is the application, 2, the tariff, 3, the bill of lading, 4 is a composite exhibit of the photos, 5 would be the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration carrier profile, and 6 would be the shipper witness affidavit.
Thank you. Well, they will all be marked and entered as those numbers. Thank you.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Belser.
Yes, ma'am?
I note that there was an amended application, an amended tariff, an amended bill of lading. And so the list that was just read out just said application, tariff, and bill of lading. Can we make sure that we have the correct documents, please?
Thank you, Commissioner Belser. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
So that we do have the amended of all of those, right?
We will be sure that the most recent amendments be entered.
Okay. All right, so we will have, those will be the amended application, the amended tariff, and the second bill of lading that was done. Those are the ones in question, correct, Commissioner Belser?
That's correct. I just need to make sure
Okay.
we have the correct exhibit. I think
Okay.
and Mr. Popowski can clarify this, but I believe that all of those were submitted yesterday afternoon. Is that correct?
The amended application, the amended tariff, amended bill of, yes, the, affidavit of, Nat Wall may have been the day before, but within the last 3 days, business days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So does that complete your case, Mr. Popowski?
Yes, and I would note let me say that I would note the affidavit of Nat Wall that supports the need for an additional mover, in South Carolina. Yes,
Okay.
it does with that.
Thank you. Mr. Knowles, any questions from ORS?
Chairman, this is Commissioner Belser. We
Yes,
hadn't gotten. I'm
No, we
sorry.
haven't got commissioner questions yet.
Sorry,
That's okay. I know you're excited.
I am.
Mr. Knowles, any questions from ORS?
No questions from ORS. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, commissioners. Commissioner Belser.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you both for being here and for working with us on a virtual hearing. I know it's a little bit challenging, but appreciate your indulgences. Can you explain to me about this electronic bill of lading a little better?
In referring to, in what manner?
How does it work?
It's exactly like as if we were going to have a paper bill of lading as far as the steps. Okay, as when the driver shows up, they present our shipper with the tablet. At that point in time, our shipper is going to acknowledge a starting time for arrival. It's literally everything that is in of our BOL. It reflects on the tablet. I do believe yesterday, David, were we able to get that out to everybody yesterday? The video, just so everybody can.
We wrote a letter, Commissioner Belser. A letter was submitted late yesterday with 2 links that have one's a 2-minute link and one's a 3-minute link. And I don't know, Mr. Dong, that's maybe.
We've got, Mr. Popowski, we got the letter, and I've read it, and I was able to view the video on the second link, but I could not get the video from the first link to come up. I got a access denied message.
By chance, was the one video that you were able to watch, was it a payment or was it an actual bill of lading video?
I think it was the bill of lading.
Okay, so as far as with the electronic bill of lading, it's steps. So a driver cannot move forward without getting proper signatures. It's acknowledging, like I said, as far as the start time, okay, arrival times, allowing us to, start the move. And then again, there's also a spot throughout the process of the move to get the acknowledgement signed towards the end, at the end of the move. Now what happens is in the very beginning of the process, the shipper is able to, one, verify the amount of men, the hourly rate, travel, and also fuel. At that point in time, before we even start, the shipper also has the chance to review the email address. Okay, so that way we can make sure that we're getting the bill of lading sent to the shipper, to the proper email. If not, we are able to mail it. They go through the process. Once we get over to destination, at that point in time, typically our driver's able to determine how long the move's going to take, how long to offload. At that point in time, the driver will present the tablet to the shipper. Okay? And the breakdown will be shown before any charges, anything like that, that the shipper is able to see the breakdown of the move. Anticipated stop time, it's separated as far as labor, travel, fuel, and also materials.
And I think you've answered this, but the customer will receive a copy of that bill of lading.
Correct.
How does the customer know what's in the terms and the conditions prior, or does the customer get to know what's in the terms and conditions on the bill of lading prior to actual receipt of it?
Prior to signing, they'll get to go over it, just like as if it was a paper bill of lading.
Okay. And are these, even though they're electronic, how do you maintain consecutive numbering of these electronic bills of lading as required by our regulations?
Just as if we were to print it out, it's a CID, a customer identification. It's how we determine it on our side. It's as if we were to print it out. It's all numbered per se, per branch, per location. Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you for that. On the photos of the vehicles that you have, I noticed that on photograph 4B that there's already a PSC ORS certification number on that. So is that a truck from one of your sister companies, or is that a truck that you're going to be using in Columbia?
Correct. So, that's actually it's a rental. It's a summer rental that we did get. Anticipating to use for our Columbia location. Every year in the beginning, I want to say about April is when each location receives anywhere from 1 to 2. We call them summer rentals. They're short-term lease. It's not a lease. It's just it could be for 3 months, or a location can keep it for the rest of the year.
But that truck already has a certificate number, and I'm curious, whose truck is that? Is that one of the sister companies, or is that you?
Correct. Correct.
One of the sister companies.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is more appropriate to you or to Mr. Popowski, but I need for you to look at the bill of lading with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Under section 6. And this section contains some mandatory arbitration language. And it indicates that arbitration would occur in Dallas County, Texas. It also references the Federal Arbitration Act. Now I'm correct that you are seeking intrastate moves from this commission, the ability to make intrastate moves.
Correct.
First of all, why would the Federal Arbitration Act come into play here when that's interstate? And then secondly, I'm not sure that the public interest in South Carolina could bear having mandatory arbitration in Texas for customers located in South Carolina. Help me understand that.
I had not focused on that provision, and I understand your question, and I think we could file an amendment to the application as a late file, an amendment to the bill of lading or amended bill of lading that changes the location to South Carolina and subject to the South Carolina Arbitration Act. I just saw, that was an oversight on my part. I didn't see that.
I also question whether or not this section conforms with the requirements of notice in a contract that contains an arbitration provision.
Yes, I understand that issue too, and we'll correct that as well.
Okay. And Mr. Popowski, I don't know if this has gotten through on any of the sister companies. I'm the last one in here as a commissioner, and that just kind of caught my eye about Dallas County, Texas.
That was a good catch.
Okay. Mr. Dong, would you please note a late filed exhibit to come from the applicant?
We'll note that late filed exhibit as exhibit number 7.
Thank you.
Let me just check my notes here. I think that's all I have, and thank you for your clarification, and thank you for being here today. Wish y'all luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Belser. Commissioners, any other questions? Okay. If there are no other questions from other commissioners, Mr. McNally, we'll let you step down, or however we do it virtually, as a witness, and we will turn to the Office of Regulatory Staff, Mr. Knowles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, ORS would ask that the review letter that we filed earlier this morning be entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
Okay, the ORS letter will be entered as hearing exhibit number 8. I think that's correct, Mr. Dong.
That is correct.
Okay, number 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Thomas McGill is available if there are any questions from the commission.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. McGill? Okay, hearing none and seeing nobody moving to ask a question, Mr. Commissions today. I know you're hating that, so.
Maybe next time.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to come before us in this particular hearing? Mr. Dong, anything?
I think that covers it. I think that the commission will rule on both the application in chief and the motion to adopt the electronic bill of lading in the same order. We'll await the late filed exhibit from Mr. Popowski.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else from anyone? If not, yes.
Nothing from the applicant.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Popowski and Mr. McNally, thank you for being here. Thank you for your testimony, Mr. McNally. We will rule on this as soon as practical, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.